Welcome back. Today, in the spirit of the last several videos, which have been more on the emotional fluffy side than the tangible advice side, let's talk about goals. And this in particular is because I just had a little conversation in Back to 2020 with a darling member who is struggling not making improvements. And if you're generally struggling not making improvements, I made a few other videos on this, troubleshooting improvements, the more tangible bits of what can go wrong, what can prevent you from making improvements. It's usually a fairly straightforward solution. Check out those videos. This one though is more of a, if you know how to troubleshoot, but you're not making improvements, more from a lack of emotional desire. And that's something people fail to evaluate sometimes, and people sometimes fail to realize that the problem is more of an emotional drive problem and less of a, I don't know what I'm doing wrong as far as approach problem. And to that, my specific recommendation is write down goals. And I'm not saying think about goals. I'm not saying watch this video and nod and go, "Ew, that is a wonderful idea, Drakey." I'm saying pen and paper. Like not even on your phone, like actual pen and paper, write down your goals. And one, write down your diopter goals. And if you don't know what your diopter goals are, that's problem number one. Fail to plan to fail, something. Diopter goals. And I have videos and clear expectations on where it should be. A quarter diopter every 3 to 4 months, 0.75 diopters a year. If you're in the first year, at least a diopter, probably more. Figure out if you want a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, a longer-term goal, maybe all of the above, right? Like what do you want to accomplish in the next 3 months, 3 or 4 months, right? What do you want to accomplish in the next 6 months? What do you want to accomplish in the next year, diopter-wise? And now, I don't follow my own advice very often, which is typical, but set yourself a diopter goal, number one. Number two, set yourself a rewardy kind of goal. What getting to that one diopter less, one of the things that we discussed in this morning's Back to 2020 thing is screen addiction, right? And I'm kind of tired of talking about it. You're probably tired of hearing it. There's lots of other resources talking about screen addiction, but the main thing about screen addiction is you can, but you don't really want to try to tear yourself away from the screen. You want to be tempted away from the screen. What could be tempting, right? Like what is it that could be, like take this dumb example of this dumb face, like I buy motorbikes. And I'm not saying you should do that. Like this is kind of my thing as an example, because I love motorbikes and I'll go for a ride, right? Like there are definitely times when I see the motorbike, I'm like, I could go for a ride. That adds a half an hour, however much time, and maybe end up going somewhere that's new that I haven't seen before, finding something. That motorbike tempts me away from the screen. Just as an example, right? Like there's a billion other examples, and it's kind of an individual exploration journey. I think I talked about this too much in some other video about finding the thing that will tempt you away from the screen. Positive emotions, as long as you're like, I'm addicted to the screen, I love it so much. That's an issue, because find something you love more. And I'm not gonna get into a giant rant on this. Basically, write down a goal of what are you gonna do? What do you want to do differently? Like when you check those goals 6 months or a year or 3 months, whenever from now that you want to set it for, is where do you want to be? If you're writing a movie script, right? And this is like whatever the next scene is 6 months or a year from now, where are you in that space? Both diopter-wise, and what's changed about your life that reflects your different relationship with your eyes and your environment, the things you see, the things you want to see, things that you want to see besides the dumb screen. Sit around and dream for a while. Just be like, what? Not, let's not go, I won 10 million in the lottery, but achievable. Maybe like outside of the meh, blah achievable, but something where you would actually go, this is feasible, right? Like I can't turn into a green monster man, but what could I do if I reach and if I dream about a thing, right? And that doesn't have to be crazy. It could be buying a motorbike. Who knows, right? Like a thing that isn't impossible, but is also on the level of, as you're writing it down, you go, wow, that's pushing it, right? Like in a good way. Like if I'm in this spot a year from now, if I'm riding down the coast highway with the wind in my hair, that's nuts, but it could be done. Like that's the kind of goal, like why not, right? Like life is too short to live miserably in a room, which actually I am miserably in a room right now, recording this for you, but it's too short. Life is too short to not have an experience, to not write down a goal that if you get there, you're gonna be like, wow, this is very cool. But too short. It's too short to be staring at stupid videos all day, except for this one. This one is entirely worth staring at, so keep staring at it and find the motivation and dream of in your toolbox of things you can accomplish. 6 months, a year from now, what is the thing, right? Like, silly example, because I don't know what your scenario is, but riding down the motorcycle on the coast, and you're starting out here, you've never ridden a motorbike, your significant others will yell at you, blah, 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 whatever the story is. Goal first, right? Like a year from now, I am X person, right? Like, well, you're the same person, but if your life was a movie, cut to the scene a year from now, that's an amazing scene that's worth recording. What is that scene? And once you wrote down that goal, then you can figure out how to get there. Figure out how to get to your diopter goal. Sorry if there's background noise. It's raining outside. It's raining every day in this freaking place. I'm leaving it in a moment. But anyway, write down the goal, the diopter goal, and then you have the path of how do you get to the goal. And then figure out what are you going to do with that improved vision goal. That is a similar process, right? Because the goal that is the fun goal that improves your vision is also going to help you improve the diopters. It's really hard to improve diopters if it's another task disrupting your screen addiction, right? That you want to look at the screen, but oh crap, Jake said I need to go outside. That sucks. I don't want to go outside. It has to be something that's tempting. And before this turns into an endless rant, and because the rain's picking up and there's probably a bunch of background noise that I honestly can't help, that's all I have to say about this. Write down some goals. Don't be in the same spot a year from now. Don't be like wasting the limited time of life just on screens. Screens are like freaking heroin. Like a heroin addict is the life you live when you're just and you're passing away the hours and days and weeks and months and years when you don't have to work instead of living life staring at that stupid thing. So write down some goals. And then I don't care if you like this video, honestly, but if you have inspiring comments or experiences or the things that contribute to your life that might be interesting for me to know about or for others to know about, leave in the comments, and then maybe I'll see you in the next one.